Go ahead. I already said we have to get dinner figured out.
The person with the initial, there we go. Thought you were going to get dinner for all of us. We're good
Tell
to
me
go,
when you're
Melissa,
ready,
now?
Melissa.
Okay, give me 1 second. We've got people coming in.
Okay.
I think Jessica's admitting them. Okay, let me share screen. And okay, Brian, there you go.
Thank you, Melissa. This is Brian Bates, co-chair, along with Rob Wilson of the Doney Park Timberline Fernwood Area Plan Committee. This is a special meeting on July 14th to consider LU, I believe it's LU 23. And let's take a call to see if we have a quorum. I'm Brian Bates. I've lived out here several years, and it's been a pleasure and honor to be the co-chair. Let me recognize Rob Wilson first.
Hi, I'm Rob Wilson. I live in Timberline, co-chair along with Brian. Happy to be here this evening and appreciate the public, the general public here to join us this evening and their time participating. Thank you.
Thank you. Whomever is not muted, if you will mute yourself, we would appreciate it. John Ruggles.
John Ruggles, Planning and Zoning Commissioner for District 2. And by the way, it is LU 24 this evening.
Thank you, John. Let me go to Dave Browning.
I'm unmuted now. I'm retired and we've been here since about 06, I think. And so we've got about 15, 16 years and we really like it here and we've liked it ever since we got here, except for all the water on my property right now.
You have a swimming pool, do you? Well, sorry to hear that. Let me go to Monica, please.
Hi, I'm Monica. I'm the old guy that was on the committee last time, 20 years ago. I'm up on Kevin's Way and been out here, well, I don't know, a long time.
Thank you, Monica. Let's see, Jim Clifford.
Jim Clifford, District 4 Planning and Zoning Commissioner, and been in Doney Park for a long time.
Thank you, Jim. Sailor.
Hi, this is Sailor Caudill, big fan of the Doney Park, Timberline, Fernwood, and all of those other fabulous neighborhoods. Glad to be here.
Yeah, you don't live here anymore.
Okay, do we have any other committee members? Okay, I see that Supervisor.
I'm sorry,
Geronimo
Brian, I'm called in.
Excuse me, who was that?
Sorry, this is Liz. I'm phoning in.
Thank you, Liz. So introduce yourself very quickly, please, Liz. Very
Sure,
quickly.
Liz Baldwin lives on Jupiter. Liz Baldwin lives on Jupiter, been here for 27 years and been on the committee since inception.
Thank you. Let me recognize Supervisor Vasquez, if you want to share with us quickly, sir.
Good evening, everyone. Geronimo Vasquez, Supervisor District 2, longtime Flagstaff resident, and it's been a pleasure to get to know everybody during this process. It's been a long one, but a good one, and I'm glad we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. I look forward to a good meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Vasquez. Couple of very quick things. Tonight, we're going to be discussing LU 24 and As you are probably aware, this is something that the legal department of the county has said is in conflict with the area plan, not the area plan. Help me out here. What am I trying to say?
Comprehensive plan.
Comprehensive plan. Thank you. And so this is something in which we're going to look at the message that we want to send to the planning and zoning and to the board of supervisors. I kind of look at it like it's a flat tire. We have a chance to continue as we are, or we can take some time and look and see which direction we want to go. So maybe a roadmap is a better example. With that, let's go to public comment. If you are a member of the public and you wish to share with us, please unmute yourself and you will have 3 minutes per person. Is there any member of the public that would like to share with us this evening? I do not see any raised hands.
Doug has his hand up.
Doug, go ahead, please.
He's the one that wrote it.
Doug, you're still muted.
Hi, I'm Doug Meyer. I'm a resident of Doney Park. And I just want to quickly make 2 points. I'll repeat, number one, my warning from 3 weeks ago that any plan that has a primary goal of negotiating with a property owner after a land transfer has been completed is going to fail, because obviously the whole point of the land transfer is to remove the property owner's need to negotiate with planning and zoning. Secondly, regarding the impact of LU 24, LU 24 is intended as pure political communication of the DPTF, Doney Park, Timberline, Fernwood communities' will. The authors of the act which governs the land transfer process included those required signatures of the governor of Arizona and the US Secretary of the Interior, precisely because land transfers are obviously a potential source of contention. And so the process needs to be subjected to political forces so that democracy can work. The expression of a community's will to a political official by itself in no way infringes on any property owner's rights, and therefore Coconino County cannot be sued merely for formally communicating the will of a community to a political official. And that's it. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Doug. I see that Cody Montano, your hand is up. Please share with us, Cody.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could just elaborate on what this meeting is for, or what this, what this proposed change would mean.
Very quickly, Cody, there is one section in our area plan that had been previously approved by the committee that said that if a parcel of land were to be taken out of county jurisdiction, that that our plan would ask that the Board of Supervisors address the governor and the Secretary of the Interior for the United States to oppose that land transfer.
Okay, and why? So I understand that. I guess why would we not want that, or why would we want to remove that?
Okay, so that's what we're going to discuss tonight, Cody.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I don't have an opinion or something to say until I understand why we would want to change that.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yep.
Darren Russell, would you please mute yourself? Thank you, sir.
Brian, excuse me, I see Bernice has joined.
Please restate that.
I see Bernice has joined.
Bernice, would you quickly introduce yourself and then we will move on with the remainder of public comment.
Hi, I'm Bernice Carver. I've been out in this area about 45 years and I've really enjoyed the time I've been in Doney Park. I've been active in not just working for businesses in the community, but also with 4-H and the schools and lots of things like that. I would like to comment too that the people that are making comments right now, we have a comment period in the beginning and also at the end, but if you make your comment at the end, we won't get to consider your position when we do discuss it and possibly vote on it during our meeting. So if you do have a position on something, it's good to state it at the beginning. Thanks.
Thank you, Bernice. Okay, going back to public comment, were there any other individuals from the public wishing to comment? Seeing no hands raised, let's move on. Please, Melissa. So,
Okay, there you go,
Melissa,
Brian.
would you cover this, please? The difference between a minor and a major amendment?
Sure. So the minor amendment, and this is straight out of the Coconino County zoning ordinance. So a minor amendment, and just for a little bit of background, this will be whether or not adopting the area plan is a minor amendment or a major amendment. That's the relevance of these next two slides. So a minor amendment, and you can see the first item, the first criteria is that a revision or an update to an existing area plan or rural planning area that meet the comprehensive plan's vision, goals, or policies are considered minor amendments. And then the second slide talks about what a major amendment is, and there's a difference in the approval process for these. So a major amendment is when a change to the text conflict with or alter one or more of the goals and policies in this plan. And because a comprehensive, rather an area plan is an amendment to the comprehensive plan, if there is a conflict in the text that conflict with the goals and policies, then that falls into a major amendment category. And again, the process for adopting that is different. A minor amendment can be heard at the commission at any time of the year, where a major amendment can be heard once per calendar year in October. And after that gets referred to the Board of Supervisors. So that was just the background information, Brian. And then the next slide presents the current draft goal and policy, and then the goal and policy in the comprehensive plan that it conflicts with, and then some alternative wording is the next slide.
Okay, so I believe that all the committee members are well acquainted with this goal and policy that we have discussed previously. And Melissa, is it necessary? Do we need to read this aloud for those? Do we have people on the phone?
I think reading it aloud would be good, so people that are on
Would
the phone
you
can hear it.
Please do that.
Okay. And this is a current goal. The current draft goal in the area plan reads: all tax parcels located within the DPTF planning area whose development is subject to approval by the Coconino County Planning and Zoning Commission remain within said jurisdiction. And then the policy associated with that is policy LU 24. And that reads: if necessary, the Coconino County Board of Supervisors should appeal to the Governor of Arizona and the U.S. Secretary of the Interior in opposition to efforts to remove land from said jurisdiction. That is the current draft policy. And then the next goal and policy displayed on the screen are the goal and policy right from the comprehensive plan. And I can read those now if you're ready, Brian.
Yes, please.
The goal and policy that conflict are these: community character goal, promote coordination of land use planning with sovereign tribal nations related to development and resource protection. And then policy number 13 from the comprehensive plan reads: the county encourages expanding is collaboration with tribal governments on land use issues, development projects, infrastructure development, and cooperative maintenance through strategic planning efforts such as area plans. And so these are the, this is the topic of discussion, looking at how these conflict. And these have been determined. The area plan goal and policy does conflict with a comprehensive plan goal and policy. And then the next slide that we have is another alternative wording for discussion tonight.
Before we start talking about alternatives, I think Bernice has her hand up and I'd like to share a thought too.
Okay, go ahead, please, Rob, and then we'll go to Bernice.
Bernice was first.
Oh, excuse me. Okay.
Thank you. Let me see how I turn my hand down. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I just do not see how this conflicts because this is a community character. The comprehensive plan goal and policy is in community character. It's not in land use. It does not mention tribal transfers of county property into tribal jurisdiction from Coconino County jurisdiction. I would like to know exactly how this conflicts with our current area plan goal and policy.
Melissa, do you have the statement or the rationale from the county legal department?
I have the department's position that these conflict, and if you look at the wording, we can deconstruct the sentence if we need to. The comprehensive plan goal and policies uses terminology such as promote coordination of land use planning and expand collaboration, whereas the proposed draft uses terminology such as in opposition to efforts. So right there, that type of terminology conflicts and contradicts each other. So that's the position of the department. And I think that other than that, this is a decision for the committee to make. And I'm happy to just leave it at that.
I think you need to add in opposition to efforts to remove land from said jurisdiction. That
Right,
is
that's true.
part of
That's
the
right.
sentence.
Correct. So it's when you start to take apart the sentences and look at the wording, it's a matter of terminology. Understanding the intent of this is there are other ways to word it where the wording, the terms will not conflict.
That community character goal and policy does not mention transferring land from Coconino County into the tribal jurisdiction.
It talks about related to development.
Well, anybody can buy land in Coconino County and develop it. Everybody has the same opportunity. But taking it out of the jurisdiction, that's another issue.
I'm sorry, I'm not butting in, but how do I raise my hand if I'm on the phone, ladies and gentlemen?
Is that Liz?
It
Yes,
was.
it is. I don't know how to raise my hand if I'm on the
Okay.
phone.
Liz, let me go
I'll be after Rob.
let me go to Rob first and then I'll
Brian, if I
come
could
back to
also
you.
just follow up on one thing.
Sure.
Think of it in terms of having a positive versus a negative phrasing of what you're intending to do here. And if it's in the spirit of what the comprehensive plan is setting out. The comprehensive plan is the spirit of the comprehensive plan all throughout the document, not just what you see here, is about collaborating and coordinating and cooperating with our Native American governments and with other jurisdictions in order to achieve the goal, the vision and the goals and the implementation plan of our comprehensive plan and the area plan. So when you think of it in terms of actually how to write a policy, the terminology and then the spirit of it and how it's phrased really do matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa. Rob, your comment?
Yeah, I would like to first start by agreeing with Bernice. Anyone can purchase and develop property in our area and do it just fine. And there is no opposition to that. So I don't believe, well, while I understand county legal has said that, the county attorney's office has indicated this is a conflict. I don't think it's one of enough substance to justify us changing something that we've already had a special meeting for, we've already taken a vote on, and we've already agreed represents what the majority of the people in our community want to see in this document. And then I would like to back up and look at this from a slightly higher level and suggest that the real question here is are we going to get this done at the next county supervisors meeting or planning and zoning meeting, or are we just going to have to wait until October and allow this to go through the process the way it was designed to work, which is going through county planning and zoning and going through the county supervisors and allowing them, if they feel it's necessary, to edit it. I personally am fine with letting the process work the way it's supposed to work. And if there is a conflict, and if the county attorney's office can convince either planning and zoning or the supervisors that this needs to change, then they should change it. But I believe that we have accurately captured what our community wants in this plan, and we should let it stand. Thanks.
Thank you, Rob. Let's go to Liz, and then Liz, I will follow you with a comment.
Okay, this is Liz Baldwin. I agree with Rob and Bernice, and I said that to the note that I sent the committee. I would like detailed information of specific wording that the legal team doesn't like what we say, because to me, we're more general in this statement. We're not specifically saying tribe, we're saying anyone that does this. And I think the wording we discussed before, and we already had open comment, and I agree, the survey and the community and this committee have already decided. And so let the process be. And if we have to wait, so be it. But we have stated what the community and the committee have decided the best. And I just think it's just going backwards. And if we have to go late, then we go late. And the other thing is, I think if everyone doesn't like the wording because we don't use the word collaboration, then let's put it in our statement. But to me, it's saying if necessary, if we can't work out something, then we will go the next step. And I don't see, in all our other goals and policies, we're always talking about collaboration, encouragement, not making. That's why we didn't use the word shall, but we used the word should. We didn't want to seem too forceful. But now we're saying if something happens, if necessary in policy LU 24, we will do this. But of course, we're going to collaborate. And if we need to put that word in there, so be it. And let the legal team specifically say what they don't like and talk to the supervisors and say, you do it. You put it on their shoulders, not ours. We've already said what the community and the community decided. So end of point. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Let me share very quickly. My concern is that if we send this on to the planning and zoning and the board of supervisors, we then lose control over what the final statement is. And my personal opinion is that we're better off working through this to see if we can find an agreement that is going to meet the needs of the community as have been expressed in the language that we as a committee feel reflects that, such that we then are in control as opposed to letting go of control. That said, let me go to Dave Browning, and then I'll go to John Ruggles. Dave, you're muted.
There we go. Yeah, I've always had a little bit of problem with this, opposition to efforts to remove land from said jurisdiction. This is, if there's no reason that it can't be requested and then go from there. But that was my part of it. And there were a couple of others that have been alternative ones for discussion, and I think we might want to look at that pretty quickly.
Okay. Okay. Let me go to John Ruggles, please.
Well, I'm in there with Dave in a number of aspects. But there is one thing about the statement in the goal that it pertains to, it specifically says parcels that can be acted upon by the Planning and Zoning Commission. That leaves out a lot, because not everything that is done in terms of land use goes through the Planning and Zoning Commission. Rezoning, as a for instance, is the final decision is made by the Board of Supervisors. The Planning and Zoning Commission only makes recommendations, and that statement is very misleading. The other thing is, I agree with Dave that this is not the point in the discussion to talk about the protections that the community already has that are stated in the Indian Regulatory Game Act. When we get to the alternate wording suggested, that's the point to discuss that. And for that reason, I have right in front of me pertinent paragraphs from the Indian Gaming Act, and I will read those to you. If there is some inference that the opinions of the community are not respected in any kind of a decision to transfer fee to trust land.
So John, I'm a little confused. You said the Indian Trust Act. Is this a US statute?
No, that's not what I said. The Indian Gaming Regulatory Act.
Is that a state or it's a federal?
Okay, do your homework. It is the federal statute. It was passed in 1988, and that regulates the transfer of fee and trust land. Do you want me to explain what fee and trust mean?
I don't need for you to. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole here.
Well, you said you were confused.
What you've cleared up what I was concerned about.
Okay.
Let's look at an alternate proposed version. This is one that I believe Melissa wrote. Melissa, can you read the alternate version for people to get a sense of where we're going, of where you anticipate this might go?
Yes. So an alternate goal for consideration would be prior to the transfer of any parcels that are currently under the jurisdiction of Coconino County to another authority, efforts should be made to coordinate with that authority to ensure that the area plan's vision, goals and policies, design review overlay, and desired land uses as identified throughout this plan are maintained.
Okay, I'm thinking maybe we look at goal to goal. Is it possible for you to go back and share with us the previous goal?
There you go.
Okay.
I don't have them side by side, but there you are. I can read it again. All tax parcels located within the DPTF planning area whose development is subject to approval by the Coconino County Planning and Zoning Commission remain within said jurisdiction.
Would that include complying with existing planning and zoning code?
Could you repeat that, Bernice?
Would that include complying with existing planning and zoning code? Could it be construed that the development is subject to the zoning code?
Excuse me, I have something urgent that I have to take care of. I'm going to be out of here for a little while.
Thank you, Dave.
Bernice, I think that the goal, you're asking about the current goal?
Yes. It says subject to approval, but all development has to comply with zoning code, current existing code.
I don't think it really says that. I think
yeah, it doesn't. It says it's subject to the you flipped it to the other screen again. It says that it's subject to the approval by the Coconino County Planning and Zoning Commission.
But remember, the Planning and Zoning Commission, as John said, only reviews certain cases.
Well, if
It
it didn't comply with existing code, would the county planning and zoning not approve it?
I'm not sure what you mean by that. So if any development project comes in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission, that they are responsible for reviewing, and if it doesn't meet zoning code, then generally we would not recommend that for approval.
Right. So is that goal could stand as it is then, and it would include all parcels within the jurisdiction, correct?
Which goal, Bernice?
The current draft goal.
I think, like John said, it's fairly limited in terms of the county's Planning and Zoning Commission would not ever review a land transfer, for instance.
Okay, that's an important point. Let me repeat that. The county's planning and zoning would not review a land transfer. Is that accurate?
It's not a case that would go to the Planning Commission. The county would be required to, the entity requesting a transfer is required to coordinate with the county, but the response wouldn't come from the commission, it would come from the board.
From the Board of Supervisors.
And that's exactly what we're currently asking with it written. Our goal and policy as it's written now is, should someone ask to take property out of our area and reassign it, we want our County Board of Supervisors to express our opinions in our community plan that we are opposed to that idea. And I'd like to, and I'm sorry I jumped in there, Brian, but
no, I was going to you, Rob.
And
thank you.
And second, I would like to remind everyone of what Doug said at the beginning of this meeting, and that was that we can attempt to coordinate and ensure that they're going to meet all these lofty goals, all we would like. But the bottom line is once it's out of the jurisdiction of the county, there is absolutely no way we have any authority or enforcement or anything else whatsoever. And so in reality, to me, this alternative version has absolutely no teeth whatsoever. It's saying, yeah, let's talk and let's get verbal commitments or whatever, but it wouldn't even matter if they were written commitments, because once the land is transferred, none of that matters.
So Rob, I'm looking at it and it says that the county efforts should be made to coordinate with that authority to ensure that the area plans, visions, goals, and policies, etc., are maintained.
But there is no legal liability or anything else. So it's all just, it sounds good language. It isn't legal. It doesn't give any authority to the county. And once that land is transferred, we lose all control, and it doesn't matter what the agreements there may have been in advance, those are all null and void, and anything at all can be done with that property, which is what is at the heart of our community and our neighbors' concerns, is that we don't want that to happen.
Thank you. Liz, your hand is up. John Ruggles, your hand is still up. I don't know if it's a continuation or if it's a new comment. Liz, you please.
No, it's a new comment.
Okay, let me go to Liz first.
Sure. I agree. And Doug Meyer said that with his public comment. He just said, once it's out of jurisdiction, no one has control because no one can back it with legal. And so I agree with Rob and Doug Meyer, who wrote this beautiful LU-24 or arranged it for us. I just feel that we're just letting our hands be untied, and we already said, why should we rewrite something differently? Because they can downplay this or change it anyway at the end. They can change anything we write in the area plan, supervisors, the county supervisor, so board of supervisors. So why don't we just leave what is here? And like I said, if they want us to use collaboration before, then we'll put that word in there. But
our beautiful policy LU-24 said, if necessary. So we can say what you want to say to give it the fluff, but if necessary, this is what we're going to do. Because we're going to lose all power legally if we don't keep that in.
Thank you, Liz. John Ruggles.
Okay, I would like to comment on that. In terms of legal power, that power is vested in the Secretary of the Interior. And if we're not talking about gaming specifically, then let's talk about just a transfer of fee to trust land. The Code of Federal Regulations that the Department of the Interior has to adhere to tell you what your legal rights are if there is an application to transfer that property. And that requires notification of the state.
The meeting started at 5.
The supervisors.
John, excuse me, Kathy Calhoun, please mute yourself. Thank you.
And that requires notification of the Board of Supervisors as well as state of Arizona. And it lays out specifically what the Department of the Interior in evaluating that has to take into consideration. And essentially, it is taking into consideration precisely the kinds of things that we are expecting it to be taken into consideration in our area plan. I have Title 25 of the Code of Federal Regulations right here in front of me. I've reviewed it considerably, and the protections that you seem to be asking for in the area plan already exist in both federal law and federal regulation that govern how this process goes forward, if it goes forward at all. Now, if it gets down to gaming, Doug Meyer is absolutely correct about one thing here. When it comes down to gaming, if the governor does not sign off on off-reservation land acquired for the purpose of gaming, and there is an exception in the law for that, if the governor doesn't sign off on it, it doesn't happen. And there is the political clout that we as residents of this county and Arizona have in dealing with that.
Thank you, John. Rob, your hand is still up.
I just went up, but thank you. John, you said that they are required to notify the County Board of Supervisors and consider their input, the Secretary of Interior is. And what we are trying to do with our policy and goal is to provide our county supervisors with that input. So while that may be required, the whole point of our area plan is to make sure our county supervisors know what our area wants.
Well,
and
Rob,
that's what we're doing here.
Yes, just take a look at the policy in version 2. Prior to this, we had absolutely nothing that really said the county should actively seek area plan community input when formulating a response to the jurisdictional changes. That means what the county Board of Supervisors would submit to the Department of the Interior, the Secretary of the Interior, when evaluating any kind of a change from fee to trust land.
This area plan is supposed to inform those decisions. And that input from the community is this area plan. So I believe that we are consistent with what this policy and our policy both say, and that is the members of our community don't want this, and we would expect our elected representatives to express that to the Department of Interior, and that's what we're asking them to do with our existing goal and policy.
That may be, Rob, but I have to disagree with you because the policy in version 2 essentially accomplishes the same thing. Because if you notify the community, and this is specific to this community, then you notify the community and solicit those comments just like you do for any other action on the part of the Planning and Zoning Commission or the Board of Supervisors.
Then John, why do we even have then why do we even have an area plan? If we're going to ask the community every time, then we don't need an area plan. The whole point of this document is to collaboratively put together an area plan that represents what our community wants for reference for those decision makers that we elect into those positions.
However, I would have to say that with respect to that, the wording, and I've had feedback when I've shown the wording of what is in there right now. The first word that I heard was discriminatory because it singles out action that is anticipated to be taken by the Navajo tribe.
And if that's
And
the
I
case,
have got
then
to state
there's an
that
opportunity to
publicly.
change it.
However, that's what you got in the policy in version 2. And we have done the very similar thing with other parts of this area plan. And not only that, the survey is included as a part of that area plan. And if I, on the Planning and Zoning Commission, or someone on the Board of Supervisors looks at that, they are remiss if they do not look at that survey in addition to soliciting comment from the immediate area, namely Doney Park. Furthermore, I don't think that we should be in the position of changing the area plan or changing the comprehensive plan for the rest of the county.
And I don't think we are, but
yes, you are.
I will.
That is a major change. If it
I will
seems
mute
like
and
it is.
allow the rest of our committee to have a conversation here.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Thank you, John. Let me go. Bernice, your hand is up.
Thank you. You know, I've been doing a lot of research lately, and I understand that there's 13 registered sovereign tribes in Coconino County. There's representation from 13 tribes. And the Navajo tribe, the Hopi tribe are just 2 of them. But, you know, like, I really believe that we all have the right to buy property in Coconino County. We all have the right to buy and sell. But when we talk about taking county land out of the jurisdiction and out of the tax base and possibly having to collaborate with community services and things like that, that they don't pay taxes into. I'm really concerned about that. Right now, the Navajo Nation is 17 million acres. You know, I just think that Coconino County is less than, or is about a little more than half of that. It's about 11 million acres. I don't know how many acres are Forest Service or state land or Navajo tribal land within Coconino County. But, you know, I feel like that we have a lot of political clout with this area plan. And that's exactly what we've been doing for the last 2.5 years, is trying to assess and do what the community wants. And there were like 12 or 13 comments in the open house comments regarding casinos. And one of them said that we needed another casino, but the other 12 were totally against, you know, having another casino in our community. I do believe that we lose our clout over this document the minute it passes on to the Planning and Zoning and the Board of Supervisors, and hopefully they will consider the surveys and the wishes of the community. But we've had a lot of community input, and probably not as much as we could have had without COVID. I think we should have had a lot more. I think we should have had a public house with every section of the area plan that we
Bernice,
considered.
let's stay on the topic of LU-24, please.
Okay, I just think that this is a lot of this area plan is a lot of political clout, and I think that this could work out good for everybody, and except for those entities that would want to take land out of our county.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to, Dave, I see your hand up. Real quickly, I want to make a comment that I agree with John Ruggles that we are singling out the native tribes.
No,
I
we're
don't
not.
know. Wait, whoa, whoa,
Oh,
whoa,
sorry,
whoa, whoa.
sorry. I'll mute
Hey,
myself. Sorry.
Liz, it says in the policy, let me go to, where does it say? It's a Secretary of Interior. The Secretary of Interior would only be involved if it is involving Native American tribes.
Right,
That's
but it
my
says,
understanding.
and if necessary, it could be somebody else buying it, which we could be talking about another land. It's being general. It says, if necessary, and
Okay,
the word
I
and
see
is in there.
I see how you're saying that's an exception.
Yes, sir.
Longer have video.
And the other thing I would point out is it says in opposition. There could be something that comes up that we may not want it to be in opposition to.
Right.
So I think, in consideration or some other term, but I'm not sure that opposition is the correct term.
We can work
With that, let me go to Dave Browning, who had his hand up.
Yes, can we see the two that were up there just before this? That one, okay. I don't see anything really wrong with this prior, transfer. I think that it covers everything that we need to do. And, because, the county will do its thing and the state will do its thing and all that kind of stuff. But, prior to transfer any particles currently under jurisdiction of the county to another authority, that just covers just about anything, including the native tribes.
Thank you, Dave. Rob, your hand is up again.
Yeah, if we needed to, we can add to our existing statement, because you brought up a good point, Brian. There might be something that we wouldn't be opposed to, and say that this should only be implemented should plans not be consistent with our existing zoning codes. But again, we have no authority whatsoever after it's done. So it really doesn't matter. And that's why we're opposed in the first place, because you cede all control as soon as it's transferred. And it doesn't matter what we would like or what was said, that's irrelevant. Thanks.
Thank you. Rob, very quickly, I appreciate your comment. One of my concerns is that if we send this on to planning and zoning and the board of supervisors, then we cede control over their deciding what it is.
And we do that regardless.
Right.
Yes, you have a good point there. Okay, Liz, your hand is up.
I was just going to say exactly what Rob said. They can change anything we say. So at least we're standing firm on what the community and what the committee is wanting. And we're just following the survey. And the other thing is I keep on looking at the word, if necessary. We're not going to say we're going to go that route, but if necessary, we are. And again, that word and, it just covers us to say we're standing strong with this decision. And if necessary, we'll go here and just saying, okay, it's going to go out of our jurisdiction and we'll try to collaborate and make it work. But if it doesn't, oh, well, if it doesn't, then let the supervisor say, take this out. This is what we want. Then it's on their shoulders and they will be accountable, not us, because we're just saying what the survey and the community wants.
Thank you. Melissa, is your hand up? You want to share something?
I think I just unmuted Brian, but I did want to point out that that goal starts out prior to the transfer. So it gives the area plan direction and the county direction that prior to any transfer, not after the fact, it clearly states before any action were to occur. So that's what the alternative wording is presenting.
Thank you. Bernice?
I'd like to emphasize that after the transfer, we no longer have any control whatsoever over that land.
Good point. I think Melissa's point was that prior to the transfer, they have to get the information and do due diligence in reviewing the vision, goals, policies, etc. Okay. Are there any other committee members other than those who have spoken who wish to speak? Seeing none. Rob?
Well, I was just going to suggest, I think we've kind of addressed all the issues that there are. I don't know that there's anything new to talk about.
I got one more
And
thing.
the only thing I would suggest is that if we were going to stick with the original LU 24, that we add the, no, I'm not even going to do that. I was going to propose we take a vote here.
I'm approaching that. I'm trying to get through and hear all comments. Liz, a quick comment, please.
Quick comment. Okay, this version that we have, Melissa, is this with you working with the legal team? Can't we have something specifically what they would say and what they would want us to say? Or is that what this version 2 is, Melissa? Or is it your, it's a wonderful one. I disagree with it, but is it yours or is it the legal team's wordage?
So this is what I'm presenting to you. This is something that our department is presenting to you as being not in conflict with the comprehensive plan.
But legal could determine that it still is in conflict.
Yeah, this is not in conflict with the comprehensive plan as those policies are written.
Legal has determined that.
Legal saw this?
Yes.
Did they write it?
So the next slides, I do have 2 more slides, Brian, just to show the difference in schedule.
Did they write it, Melissa?
No, I wrote this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's, Melissa, let's go ahead to your, the rest of your slides, and then we'll come back for a vote.
Okay, it's just a matter of showing the difference in schedule. As a minor amendment, as you see here, so just to put it in perspective, you started in January of 2020. Tonight, we're at July of 2022. And the public hearing that this was noticed for would be with Planning and Zoning Commission this month on July 27th. You have an in-person meeting scheduled for August 18th. And then if the Planning and Zoning Commission recommended it forward, it would go to the Board of Supervisors September 13th. That's if it goes as a minor amendment. With policy change. If it is a major amendment, if your current policy as you've drafted it stays, then this is a schedule it would follow. Again, tonight's meeting, and then whether or not you met in August would be up to you. But then the first public hearing would be October 26th with the Planning and Zoning Commission, and then potentially the Board of Supervisors in December if they recommend it forward.
And neither of these plans would require any more meetings from us regardless if we chose to go forward with the plan.
That's optional for you, right? You have an August 18th meeting that was scheduled previously, but it doesn't have to happen.
Okay, did you have any other slides that you wanted to share with us, Melissa?
No, that was it. Just wanted to show the difference in the schedule between the 2 options, the major minor amendment.
Okay. Before I call for a vote, are there any committee members who haven't spoken who wish to speak? I do not see any. My suggestion is that we look at this as we have previously, and we take a vote on the goal first. And depending upon the outcome of the goal, then we would move to the policy. So with that proposal, if you want to keep the goal.
I'm sorry, Brian.
Go ahead, Rob.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Brian. The goal and policy are tied together. So
they are.
If we're going to keep one, we're going to keep the other. And if we're not going to keep one, we're not going to keep the other. They don't function independently and they're not interchangeable.
So you're proposing goal and policy together?
I think, yeah, I would propose we take a vote to leave it as it is or continue discussion about what it should become.
Okay. Dave Browning, I saw your head nodding. Are you in agreement with Rob? Okay. I accept your comment. If you want to maintain the goal and policy as currently written, you will press green. That is continue as we are. If you want to look at and put the alternate policy that Melissa wrote, then go with red. You will press green. It is continue.
Hey, Brian, whoever Gaten Morgan is needs to mute.
Yeah, Caden Morgan, mute yourself, please.
Dave, if you voted, it's not showing up, so you need to vote.
Okay, so Dave, you're voting to continue with the goal and policy as stated, as currently exist.
I'm sorry about that. I should have done red. Okay.
I'm not wanting to change your vote. I want to make sure that.
No, I was misunderstood it.
Okay. Melissa, what is our vote count?
It looks like, and Kelly can confirm this, Jessica had to leave. You have 5 for keeping the current policy and 3 for using the alternate policy. I don't see any others.
Okay. The committee has spoken. And the committee, as I make sure I say this right, is that we will send the LU-24 and the entire plan to the planning and zoning. It will be up to them to determine as to whether or not this goes forward as a minor or a major amendment. And
Brian, I need to interrupt here. It will go forward as a major amendment.
okay.
Okay, that's been determined. And Evelyn just joined you.
Okay. Unfortunately, she has missed the discussion.
I thought it started at 6.
Nope.
Sorry,
Originally
Evelyn.
did, but they had to reschedule.
Oh my gosh, so it's been rescheduled twice?
Just once. We had to reschedule it because of the meeting at 6:30 with the flood control.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was 5 and then back to 6, but it was 6 and then back to 5.
Right.
Okay.
Oh crap. I've had
Evelyn,
an unbelievable crazy day. Sorry.
it's Evelyn, we've all had them. And regardless of how you would vote, it would not change the result.
Okay, so what happened?
So what happens at this point is that the Doney Park Area Regional Plan moves forward as it is, without an amendment, without a change in policy. Okay?
So it's staying the way it is so that if something comes up, it takes a year for planning and zoning to hear it?
No, October 26th.
Yeah, so it takes, but they only do it once a year.
That's correct. So this coming October, the Planning and Zoning Commission will hear, will consider the Doney Park Timberline Fernwood plan as a major amendment.
It's shown on the screen right now, Evelyn, the schedule.
Yes.
Okay, so it's okay. All right. Sorry. I've just had the unbelievable, most screwy day, but I thought it was at 6. I could have made it at 5 if I would have thought, but I rescuing dogs, rescuing dogs, trying to get away from floods, trying to find my husband. Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Melissa, where do we go from here?
You go to this.
So, thank you, Melissa. Comments from the public. If you wish to make a comment, please unmute yourself and continue. You have 3 minutes. I do not see any hands raised. Melissa, do you see any?
No.
No public comments?
Can we
I
ask
do.
people just to unmute if they have a comment, because some people may not be familiar with Zoom.
I did. I believe I did. Okay. Committee members, final thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to share one with you. And this goes to Rob also. As vociferously as I may disagree with people about some issues that have come up, there's one thing I want you to note, and that is I do not take any of that personally, nor would I like you, who I disagree with occasionally, to take it personally. It's all part of the process. It is all part of the discussion at getting to a point where we want to arrive at some consensus. So I was brought up that way. Sitting at the dinner table in my home was like being on the floor of the Roman Senate without the blood and the knives. And I continue that throughout the rest of my life. But just that note, I do not hold anything against anyone personally for anything they have said here.
Not even for a ton of salt, John?
Not even for a ton of salt. Make it 2 tons,
Okay.
Brian, and we might talk about it.
Let me move on. Rob, I think your hand was up first, and then I'll go down the list.
Yeah, since this could well be our last meeting, I'd kind of like echo what John just said, and that is I've very much appreciated every one of our members of this committee and the valuable inputs they have all provided. I have especially appreciated our ability to work together and produce a plan that I think accurately represents what our community wants to see for the next 10 years. And thank everyone.
Thank you, Rob. I totally agree. Monica?
Yeah, I agree with everything Rob said. What I wanted to mention is, we've spent a lot of time, almost another 2.5 years of my life added to the 3.5 from before. And the key of this whole thing is code enforcement. And I just want to reiterate that we have a problem with code enforcement. And so we've tried to do everything that our community wants, and we've got it in a great document, but it will fail if we can't get code enforcement working better.
That's
Done.
a very good point. Thank you, Monica.
Mhm.
Liz?
Yep, Monica, thank you. I think code enforcement is key, and especially when you have, never mind, I'm not going to go down that road. But I want to say, I just love this committee because we still had open communication, and I just want to say we agreed to disagree, and we voted on it. We kept democracy up, and there was no dictator forcing us to make a decision or threatening us. Well, he's gone. I just love how this committee worked, and we made a dang good document.
Thank you, Liz. Bernice?
I really appreciate what Monica said also about code enforcement. And I'd like to remind you that it was the code and it was the legal team that said that we could not have anonymous code violation reports and in Coconino County because it's not legal, and it's legal in all 14 other counties. So this is the same legal team that's telling us that this may not be legal. So I think there's other opinions out there. I also would like to thank everyone who's come to all these meetings. And, there are some people that have been on these meetings from the public that have really, actually every single one of them has made a positive difference, I think, in this area plan. And I would like to encourage people to get on the county website at www.coconino.az.gov/DPTF area plan and look at the draft plan as it's going forward to the Planning and Zoning Commission, because they are going to have a public hearing. And if there's things in there that please at least read the goals and policies. It's 123 pages, I believe, but please read the goals and policies and see what you think about them. And you will have an opportunity to come forward to the P&Z and also the Board of Supervisors, and they can be contacted before the meeting. And, you know, this is a political process. It's a democratic process. We need to get the word out there because still many people don't even know about this area plan. There's been very little, if anything, in the newspaper about it. There's just a lot of people that still haven't been informed that are going to be affected by these zoning changes.
Thank you, Bernice.
Thank you.
I do want to make a comment. First of all, the legal team did not say it was illegal. The legal team said that it was a major amendment. And so there's a big difference there. I do want to thank the county staff. Well, I'll do that at the end. Dave Browning.
Yes, I just want to say that I've been on a few committees here and there over the last 50 years or so, and this one has done a lot of work, and it's come up with, I think, a good result, and I appreciate being part of it.
Thank you, Dave. Seeing no other committee members, Melissa, were you wanting to share something?
I would like to say one thing just in response to Bernice. Everyone in the community recently received a postcard announcing the public hearing for the Planning and Zoning Commission. So that went out to over 5,000 situs as well as property owner addresses. Thank you.
Okay. Well, let me conclude.
Excuse me, Brian, that postcard did not have the address to see the area plan. It did not have the area plan on it.
It had the link to the public hearing document.
Right, the public hearing did not have the plan on it. That's why I was using the area plan website.
Okay, thank you, Bernice. I want to.
Can I say one thing? And you know what, Melissa, I didn't get a postcard and either did my renters. So
it may not have been delivered yet. I haven't gotten it. Let me go to Supervisor Vasquez.
Yes, thank you, Brian. I just wanted to thank everyone for all your hard work. I know this has been a long process, but I think you've done a great job in truly reflecting the needs and desires of the Doney Park, Fernwood, Timberline area, and so I'm really pleased with the product. And I know going to a major amendment means it takes a little more time, but if that's what it takes to get this right, then we'll go ahead and roll through it. And I just want to thank everybody for their contributions, and also thank the staff for having gone through this process. I know it's been tedious and for everybody, but I'm grateful that we got to this point. So, good job, everyone. And I look forward to seeing what happens moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Vasquez. So very quickly, I'd like to just say thank you to all of the community, each and every one who have attended the public sessions, whether it be at Cromer School, whether it be online, our different meetings. The community's involvement has been tremendous. Thank you very much. To all the committee members, you all have done an exceptional job. Yes, we've disagreed on things and we found a way to move forward. So I greatly respect that and thank you. To the county staff, you all have done a tremendous job. I want to say my warmest thank yous to all of you. And finally, I want to thank Rob Wilson as the co-chair. Rob and I think we worked well together. And with that, unless there is another comment from either Melissa or Rob, I want to conclude tonight's meeting so folks can go to the meeting at Cromer School on flooding.
Brian, just one quick question and a final comment from me. You did schedule an August 18th meeting. I'm guessing that is now tentative. So we can talk about that later, but there was an August 18th meeting scheduled to be in person over at the Cokefield Fire Station, or the fire station on Cokefield Road. So we'll let everybody know later on if you're planning on getting together as a committee in person. More of a social gathering than anything else. There really wouldn't be much to discuss there, just to say hello in person. And I too want to thank everybody, the community as well as the committee, for all the hard work. It's been rewarding. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
I believe Geronimo's hands up.
I think he had just left it up, so.
He did.
Yeah, no worries. It was from earlier. Sorry, I didn't lower it.
No worries. So
Melissa, would you be able to keep in touch with the 450 people that are on your list and let them know about the public hearing and where they can read the area plan? And make sure that they have the direct web address to it so that they can download it in time to be able to comment before those hearings.
Of course.
Thank you.
And Rob, did you have a final, something you wanted to share?
Nope. Thanks very much to everybody. And Brian, it's been a pleasure working with you.
Likewise, Rob. Thank you. Dave Browning, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I just, when I spoke about the committee, I forgot to mention that the committee would not have worked as well as it did if it weren't for the two of you. I mean, really good at keeping the committee moving in the right direction. Thank you very much for your
Thanks, Dave.
work.
Thank you, Dave. Well, thank you, folks. Have a wonderful evening. And if you need, please go to the county meeting on flooding at the elementary school, Cromer Elementary, which is about to begin. Thank you and good night.